Test. Whoa. Check 1, 2.
Good evening, everybody. We're back once again, and it's just a pleasure to have Anthony Wigham here with us. I remember when I was new in the church, kinda, and I met Anthony. I used to follow the CDs, or the GDs, Gospel Dynamics. I used to follow them around, and Anthony was singing, and I learned the one they did this morning, and a lot of their other songs. I was just following them along with Marilyn Willis. So I'm glad that I met him then, and then my father passed away years later, and I didn't really know Anthony all that well, but I asked him would he come over to San Francisco, because that's where my family was. Would he come over and sing? And without any hesitation, he just came, and I don't even know if we gave him any money. I just asked him, and he just came. So anyway, today, or a couple weeks ago, I asked him for this, and he said yes, and I thank the Lord. So I'm going to read his bio now, so you'll know a little bit more about him. The music ministry of Anthony Wigham began in the mid-1970s when he was a member of the well-known group Gospel Dynamics. While attending Oakwood College, he formed a group called Way Back When. During the summer months, he would travel to work in tent revivals with evangelist Harold Brewer. It was during these tent efforts that he realized that ministry to God's people through music was his true calling. His recording career began in 1980 when he signed a recording contract with Command Records out of Los Angeles. Later, he signed with SOG Records out of Detroit, Michigan, and then formed his own record label, WIOB. During this time, he began traveling the entire United States, as well as parts of Central America and Canada in full-time music ministry, resulting in the production of 6 albums and a concert tour that took him around the world. By the mid-1990s, he was recruited by Walter Pearson to be a vocalist for the Breath of Life telecast. He has worked with major evangelists within the Adventist church, such as C.B. Gentry, Randolph Stafford, Butch Rice, Calvin Watkins, George Rainey, Emil Peeler, and E.E. Cleveland, just to name a few. He was honored by UCAA as an Oakwood legend in 2010. His latest CD, which you saw shots of it up on the screen a little while ago, entitled Morning, was released in the summer of 2016. What Anthony is most proud of is that during his years of music ministry, he has been influential in the baptism of more than 8,000 souls. To God be the glory. Here he is, presented to you at this time, Anthony Wigham.
Good evening, everyone. Come on, you can do a little better than that. Good evening, everybody. I am once again so happy and honored to be here. Betty knows she can call me for anything. That's my girl. We real cool. Grew up here in the Bay, and it's just good to be here again. We called this place 55th Street back then, 55th Street. And it was just a place that we loved coming. Matter of fact, we had our rehearsals here on Friday night for quite some time in the GDs when I was singing with them. I got a call not long ago to go to Israel. And I was so excited because Israel is one of the places I haven't been. I've been like literally around the world, everywhere, and I thought that when I went to Africa, that was just the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. Getting a chance to go to Africa and experience the people, very intelligent people, you know, and the little kids speak 2 and 3 different languages. You know, I was like, man, very intelligent. And they kept asking me, Mr. Wigham, do you speak Swahili? I was like, no. Do you speak Zulu? I said, no. I mean, I was so embarrassed because, you know, they speak all these different languages and they just knew I should be. So I said, well, what do you speak? I said, I only speak Negro. That was the only thing I know how to speak. But later on, they called me to go to Israel, and I was so excited. Wow, I'm going to get a chance to go to Israel, one of the places I'd never been. But then I started thinking about it. I said, wait a minute. It's dangerous over there. I said, I don't know about Israel. I don't know if I want to go to Israel. They were like, oh, no, Mr. Wigham. And so they called me on the phone, and they were going, oh, no, it's going to be fine. We're going to have security. It'll be this, it'll be that. I said, well, you know, I don't know still. I'm not feeling Israel. And so they put this man on the phone with a deep voice, and he was going to persuade me. He said, well, Mr. Wigham, don't you want to walk where Jesus walks? And I said, well, if I remember correctly, they walked him right on up to Calvary over there, too. I said, I don't know if I want to walk where Jesus walked. But anyway, I turned it down, and I kind of regretted it, but I turned it down. I just wasn't feeling Israel at the time, but they told me, Mr. Wigham, you're going to have a concert on the banks of the Jordan River. The banks of it. And that would have really been exciting. And I told myself, I'm just going to wait on the New Jerusalem, and I'll get in on that, rejoicing in that. But if I had the chance, if I ever go to Israel, and I'm on the Jordan River, this is the song that I would do from there. Let it go, my man. Now I'm gonna worship a little bit because I gotta go in a few. But is that all right to worship? Y'all wanna worship with me this evening? I know a man from Galilee. If you don't know Jesus, the man will set you free. It's good. And this do you know him? Just when it's fine. Do you know him? Anybody here know Jesus? I know a man from Galilee. If you don't know Jesus, the man will set you free, yeah. And this world, do you know him? Do you know him? He's the son of David, seed of Abraham, yeah. Humble servant, he's a meek and lowly lamb, yeah. I don't worry, no, I don't, whatever betide. I don't worry, 'cause Jesus is mine. Oh, yeah. I know a man from Galilee. If you don't know Jesus, the man will set you free, yeah. And this world, do you know him? Do you know him? He's the son of David, seed of Abraham, yeah, yeah. Humble servant, he's a meek and lowly lamb. I don't worry, no I don't, whatever betide. I don't worry, 'cause Jesus in. Oh, yeah. I know a man from Galilee. If you don't know Jesus, the man will set you free there. And this world, and this world, and this world, do you know him? Do you know him? Yeah, do you know him? Do you know him? If I got a chance to sing on the Jordan River, that's what I do. This next song, I love it so much because it's amazing how year after year, month after month, week after week, day after day, God continues to have his hand upon his children. He continues to keep us safe. He continues to keep us from harm and danger. So many have left here this past year. I have 9 contacts in my phone, in my cell phone, of people who I talked with last year, and this year they're gone. 9 contacts. Now that is very sobering. And I knew all these people. They died from various things, COVID and whatnot, but God is so merciful. God bless you. Let it go. Okay. All right. From the beginning. With Jesus by death reckoned mine, living with Jesus, a new life divine, looking to Jesus till glories of the shine, moments by moments. Oh Lord, I am done. Moment by moment, I'm kept in his love. Moment by moment, I have life from above. Looking to Jesus, to glories of the shine, moments by moments. Oh Lord, I am done. Never a moment that he is not never a trial that he will not share. Never a burden that he will not bear. Moment by moment, I'm under his care. Moment by moment, I'm kept in his love. Moment by moment, I have life from above. Looking to Jesus, till glory just shine. Moments by moments, oh Lord, I am blind. Oh, God bless you. One moment, we're going with MP3, so I gotta cue this next song up. Bear with me. Bear with me. How many of you enjoyed the sermon this morning? Oh, I thought that was outstanding. My brother brought it, didn't he? I want to encourage anybody who has never been a Bible worker. It's good. It's good stuff. It's good. It's very good. All right, here we go. God bless you this evening. When I should feel so sad, why does my heart feel glad? Why does my soul feel so happy, joy and gay? When all around me burdens they fall, yet I'm not worthy at all. If I obey, Jesus will roll the burdens away. Anybody know this song? All the way, from all the way, yes he will. Jesus will roll my burdens away. To him I pray. Oh, and he opens doors for me, doors I'm unable to see. If I obey, Jesus will roll my burdens away. Oh, just like a king on the throne, I'm never left all alone. I have a friend who walks with me every day. And all he's asking me to do is keep his law and to be true. If I obey, Jesus will roll my burdens away. Come on, sing the chorus with me, everybody, come on. Oh, all right, come on, I can hear you sing. All the way, yes, he will. Jesus will roll my burdens and to give my praise. Oh, he opens doors for me, doors I'm unable to see. If I obey, Jesus will roll my burdens. Come on, I need you to sing it with me this evening. Come on now. Oh, sounds good, sounds good. Come on. All the way, Jesus will roll my burdens to give my. Oh, yeah, he opens doors for me, doors I'm unable to see. If I obey, Jesus will roll my burdens away. Yeah, you sound good. Sound good. Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. All right, we're going to roll on with this. I'm sorry I have to come back here, but. Right. Okay, I need a little bass on the music because we're not hearing the bass and the drums. Yeah, we'll move on. Okay. 7, 6. Okay. Turn it up a little bit. What song is that? Let's see. That would be. Let's try this one. One thing about Jesus, he may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. Give me a little more on the mic. You can't hurry God. Oh no, you just have to wait. You got to trust him each and every day, no matter how long it takes. Hey, he's a God that you can't turn back. He'll be there, don't you worry. You know that he may not come when you want it, but it's right on time. No more bottom. Oh, you can't hurry the Lord. Oh no, you just got to wait. You got to trust him each and every day, no matter how long it takes. Hey, he's a God that you can't turn back. He'll be there, don't you worry. You know that he ain't there, but he's right on time. I want you to say that part with me, all right? You know Job was a sick man. He stayed sick so long, but Lord God Almighty touched his body one day, and that's why I sing this song. Hey, you can't hurry Jesus. Oh no, you just have to wait. You got to trust him every day, no matter how long it takes, because he's a God that you can't turn back. He'll be there, don't you worry. You know that he, but he's right on time. All right, work with me now. You know Job was a sick man. He stayed sick so long, but Lord God Almighty touched his body one day, and that's why I sing this song. Everybody say you can't hurry Jesus. Oh no, you just have to wait. You got to trust him each and every day, no matter how long it takes. He's a God that have to wait. You got to trust him each and every day, no matter how long it takes, because he's a God that you can't turn back. He'll be there, don't you worry. You know that he, hey, you know that he, said you know that he, but he's always on time. Oh yeah, has he ever been on time for you? Listen, I am so sorry. The MP3 takes so much time to pull it up, and I have a flight to catch, but I'll let Betty know and anybody else know. Call me. I'll be here in town all the way through to the next year. I'll come anytime, and we'll do the whole thing right. God bless you all so much. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, okay, you can hear me? Yes, he told me he was going to have to go. I hope he'll hold on for 1 minute, okay? But we're going to have Pastor Zaid come up and give us some remarks to close our program out. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was asked to bring we'll just say a devotional thought. Not a full sermon, but a devotional thought. And I want to just put two concepts together. So if it's all right with you, I am going to bring a devotional thought for about 20 minutes, and then we'll close out with a word of prayer. Is that all right? All right. And I know Minister Anthony Whigham is on his way, but I just want you to know I was blessed by your music ministry, and I will be right behind you on my way to the airport as well. Just so y'all know, I'm on a time constraint as well. But I'm going to just take two familiar texts, give you 3 points, and give you something to just think about around the concept of service. And so this is a devotional thought simply entitled, "What is your reasonable service?" Now that comes from Romans chapter 12, verse 1, which says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you would present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Okay. Now, Romans 12:1, present your bodies holy and acceptable, which is your reasonable service. Remember that we're reading Romans chapter 12. So Romans chapter 12 is based on and assumes that you read Romans 1 through 11. Because if you read 1 through 11, you would see all that God has done for you. So based on everything that God has now done for you, the fact that God died for you, the fact that God saved you, the fact that God stepped out of heaven down here on earth, the text is saying, based on what God has done for you, it is only reasonable that you would then present your service back to him. God is saying, look, I don't want service based on fear or guilt or ritual or manipulation. I want service based on all the love that I have poured into you. I'm asking that you would simply give some of that love back to me. It is only reasonable that you would be found reclaiming the lost, reconciling relationships, restoring character, reviving community, and developing the next generation. Now, there's a very familiar text, and because I have 17 minutes left, I'm going to go into this text and just give you 3 quick points. Here it is. Matthew 25, verses 1 through 13, talks about the wise and the foolish virgins. You guys remember those? You know, I call them the Adventists of the Bible. You know why I call them Adventists, right? Because they were all awaiting. What are Adventists? Folks who are awaiting the second coming of Christ. So these are not just virgins or Christians. We're talking about Adventists. Let's get into it. I'm glad you guys are all with me. Here we go. Stay with me. Here we go. Then the kingdom of heaven shall be like unto 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight, what time did it say? At midnight, a cry was heard, behold, the bridegroom is coming, go out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps, and the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil. For our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, no, lest there should be not enough for us and you, but go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went out to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding. And the door was shut. Afterwards, the other virgins came also, saying, Lord, Lord, open up to us. But he answered and said, assuredly, I say to you, I do not know you. Watch, therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. Can I give you a background in 3 points? Thank you, because I have 14 minutes left. So here we go. Watch this. Watch this. Chapter 25 of Matthew is a continuation of chapter 24. Jesus is discussing the last days. And it was customs for Jewish weddings for the bridesmaid to, up on notice of the bridegroom, to actually wait with lamps and then to accustom and come with the bridegroom's party into the actual wedding. Now, this is where we make the mistake, because in our context of a wedding, we think that bridesmaids are with the bridal party, right? But these were bridesmaids who were on assignment with the groom's party, who had the job of lighting the path for the groom to come in, and then they came behind the groom and entered into the wedding with the groom as well. Now, the Bible says that there were 10 virgins. 5 of them were wise, and 5 of them were foolish. And I want you to see this because this is representing Christians. This represents Adventists who are waiting for the second coming of Christ. Now, the lamps represent the Word of God, and these young girls are all equal. They all have the same opportunity. They are all under the same amount of grace. They all have the exact same job. They are all in the right place at the right time. The only thing that separates them from wise and foolish is based on what they consider to be reasonable at midnight. What am I talking about? Watch this. Notice that the text says it's midnight. Midnight represents the last days. It represents the darkest point in the night. And what I want you to see here is that the reason that they didn't bring any oil with them is because they did not expect to wait on the bridegroom as long as they did. See, the only thing that separates the wise from the foolish is the wise said, I'm going to bring as much oil as it takes to stay here even more than one day if needed. The foolish said, if the wedding is supposed to start at 7, ain't no way he going to show up by 9. Ain't no way he going to show up by 11. And I want to pause there because one of the major things that we grapple with as Christians is faith versus time. See, most of us have faith to survive an illness if the illness is only going to cost us 1 week. Most of us have faith to get us through a tough situation if that situation is only going to last a month. But when you're in a sickness for 6 months, you start dealing with faith versus time. For it is time that allows hopelessness to creep in. It is time that allows doubt to creep in. It is time that will take you over and then back again. And I want you to see this because the difference between the wise and the foolish was specifically what they considered to be reasonable at midnight. And I want to share with you that the first mistake that they make is saying, I'm going to estimate how long it's going to take for the groom to come. Do I have anybody in here that didn't always have a vehicle, didn't always have a car? Do I have anybody who used to catch the bus before? Anybody used to catch the bus? I caught a bus in Southern California called the RTD. We called it the rough, tough, and dirty. Ain't nothing like catching that thing when people get off work and, you know, it's rough. It was rough. But do you remember what it was like to sit on the bus stop? You would sit on the bus stop, but you weren't quite sure if you were late for the bus or if the bus had already passed. So you remember what you used to do? You used to walk out into the street like this. Here's what I want you to understand. I want you to understand this is what all of them were doing. But the difference is some of them had enough of God's word to last as long as it took. And some foolishly thought, there's no way God is going to take this long. Can I share something with you? God is not on your timing. You are on His. And the difference in Christians in the last days is who brought oil with them to make it at midnight. Sound goes out. Looking at the time, I got 8 minutes left. Sound goes out. The bridegroom's coming. They wake up They realize their lamps are empty and they make a mistake. Here's the mistake that they make. They say to themselves, can I have some of your oil? And I want to speak to that because I want you to understand that there are some things in life that are not transferable. Character is not transferable. You can have as much character as you want. You cannot transfer good character to somebody else. You either have it or you don't. Relationship is not transferable. Just because mama had a relationship with God, you've got to have your own relationship with God. Spirituality is not transferable. Can I share something else? Sincere service is not transferable. And the mistake that they make is believing that they can siphon someone else's oil. Now, this goes on a lot in 2022. I call it extension cord faith. This is where you don't actually plug into the source. You plug into the thing that's plugged into what you think is plugged into the source. Talking to somebody who's getting their spirituality off of a blog. I'm talking to somebody who's getting their spirituality just on YouTube alone. Let me tell you, you cannot get spirituality getting plugged into other people. You have got to get plugged into God on your own. You have to go directly to the source. And I want you to see that they make this mistake of shifting and asking. And then the last thing that they do, and I'm going to conclude. Watch this. The last thing that they do is they say to themselves, well, we don't have any oil and we can't do our job. And surely if I waited this long on God, God is going to now wait on me while I go handle my business. I wish I had time to talk to some of the sisters in the house that are dating Mr. Wrong because Mr. Right is taking too long and they're running out of oil. I wish I had time to talk about those who are engaging in substance abuse and those who are engaging in really coping mechanisms because the breakthrough that they are waiting for is simply taking too long and they are out of oil. What I'm trying to share with you is I need you to understand that they made this grave mistake, and here is the mistake that they made. At midnight in the last days, they know that the bridegroom is about to walk in, and all five of them shift their focus at midnight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the last days. Now is not the time to walk away from church. Now is not the time to walk away from service. And the difference between the wise and the foolish was simply what they considered to be reasonable at midnight. And so they completely leave. The bridegroom marches in. They come banging on the door. Hey, let me in, let me in, let me in. The bridegroom says, I don't know you. You can't come in. And now they're out in the cold, and I want you to see this. I want you to see this because, see, the bridesmaids, they were not getting into the event based on their name. See, if they were getting into the event based on their name, they would have already been inside the event. No, they were getting into the event based on the bridegroom's name. Their job was to light the path, and then as the bridegroom marched in, they would march in with him. Can I share something with you? Not one of us is going to get into heaven based on our name. Every single one of us is getting into heaven based on Jesus Christ and what he has done and the fact that we have been covered by his blood. Romans 12 says this, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you would present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable, which is your reasonable service. Here's what God is saying. God is saying, I'm not expecting you to do everything, but I'm expecting you to do something. The question is, what's reasonable? Because there's a difference in our perspective and God's perspective. See, every second a person enters the emergency room, and that means that just in the time that we've been sitting here talking, 1,800 people have already gone into emergency. See, every second a person sees a doctor for mental health, so just in the time that we've been talking, about 1,800 people just checked in with a mental health doctor. On average, a person attempts suicide every 40 seconds, which means in the time that we have been here, several people have attempted suicide. And all I'm trying to share with you is that with all that is going on all around the world, the number one thing that God is saying is wait a minute, because I have my children in the world, and while I don't expect you to do everything, I need you to do something. So I simply ask, as you present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable, what is your reasonable service? Because if you haven't signed up to serve, it is not too late. Sometimes when I have an opportunity to work with young people, I'll ask this really important question. Normally, I have 2 bills in my wallet, and I pull out the first one, and it's a $1 bill. Doesn't get you very far. These days, you pull that out at the gas station, and they'll laugh at you. But I pull out a $1 bill, and I take an apple, and I cut the apple in half, and I say, I'll give anybody $1 if you can guess how many seeds are in this apple. And people raise their hand, the kids, they'll raise their hand and they'll say, oh, I think 2, I think 4, I think 6. And I'll cut the apple in half, I'll show it, and whatever the number is, whoever it is, that's the person who gets the $1. And then I take a $100 bill out of my wallet. That's when gas prices weren't as high as they are now. But I would take a $100 bill out of my wallet, and I would give all the adults in the room an opportunity to also tell me and answer a question. And I would say, all right, adults, now that it's a $100 bill, $1 doesn't get any adults' attention, but a $100 bill, everybody is like, I don't mind being blessed on my way home. And I'll say, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Whoever gets it right is going to get $100. Here's the question. You told me how many seeds were in the apple. Now I want you to tell me how many apples can come from one seed. And here's what people will say. They say, well, wait a minute, that's not fair, because that one seed can lead to a tree, and that one tree can lead to an orchard, and that one orchard can lead to orchards all over the world. And so the number of apples that can be produced is infinite. It has so many possibilities. Who could possibly put a number to that? And I say to myself, I want you to hear that, and I want you to understand this. If you just did one thing for God and allowed him to multiply it, you have no idea how God could change the world. He just needs your reasonable service. That's my time. Bow your heads with me. God, I want to thank you for spending time today. God, I want to thank you for the concert and for being encouraged and blessed by Minister Anthony Wighams. God, I want to thank you for Immanuel Temple and our Bible instructors and all of the work that's happening in Northern California. Now, God, I ask as we prepare to depart and as we conclude this service, that God, some of us would walk out with confirmation, while others can say, God, there's something I can do for you. God, I can make a phone call for you. God, I can do a Bible study. God, I can get engaged. God, I can lead a ministry. God, I can encourage somebody. God, I can offer hope. God, I can pray with a coworker. God, I can send a card to somebody. But God, I will do something for you, because I recognize that we are in the last days. and I will not turn away my focus. God, I will stay focused on you as we await your second coming. God, bless every family and person represented. God, rain down fresh ideas and fresh revelation and fresh ministry. God, I ask that you would do exceedingly and abundantly above what we can think or know. Because God, all we want to do is be a light for you as you return. God, bless us indeed. This I pray in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Wasn't Pastor Zaid a blessing today? Morning and afternoon, we have been blessed, and we thank him for coming, and we pray that we'll have the privilege of having him come back again and minister to us. And also Anthony Wigham, we'd like to have him come back. You know, I thank everyone who so graciously agreed to be a part of the program, and I just wanted to give some acknowledgement